Hey folks, welcome back to Let's Play AGEOD's Civil War game. I think we're on something like turn 7, but I'm not exactly sure. Maybe it's 8. I haven't been really keeping track. Uh, I think this will be sort of a quiet turn, depending upon what those Confederate armies do in the east, but I'll start by going over what's going on in the west here and talking about the supply model of the game briefly. So here's Nathaniel Line in St. Louis. I have my little troops defending these two cities and my stack of cavalry in the middle, but my main stack of troops is here in St. Louis. You see it's a pretty extensive stack at this point, with all the units that I raised earlier having arrived there. But I'm going to wait one more turn before sending most of this stack off to attack Springfield, and I'd like to explain why. And why has to do with the supply model of this game. Supply sort of works in the following way. If I hover over Springfield, you'll see up in this box, the right two columns tell me that this region generates supply. The right two columns tell me that I'm generating 5 points in general supply, that's sort of like food, and 1 point in ammunition. All units always need food and ammunition to keep going. Well, I guess they don't need ammunition if they're not fighting a battle, but they certainly need food or they starve to death. And that's no good. So if you look, for instance, at this unit, this guy needs food, and he needs to be getting food per turn. He carries a little bit with him. I don't know if you can read this, but it says his supply right now is 4 and his ammunition is 4. I think he eats about 2 per turn. So if I sent this unit somewhere off to the hinterlands, he can last about 2 turns before he starts starving to death. So you need to keep your unit supplied, is my point. And supply comes from regions like Springfield, which is generating supply. Now, supply moves automatically, and it sort of moves from place to place. So the supply being generated in Springfield is probably being attracted down to St. Louis, where I have a whole bunch of guys who are using up that supply. And it all happens automatically. Supply gets sort of attracted towards the places where it's needed. So I imagine supply is being attracted from Springfield to St. Louis. Um, there are these things called depots in the game. If I hover over Springfield, you'll see Springfield's a depot. If I hover over Rolla, Rolla's a depot. And those are places that attract supply and places that stock it up, so you can have big piles of supply in those places ready to go when you need them. So that's sort of the supply model. All this happens automatically. I don't need to really do anything about it. But I do need to pay attention if my units are eating. And so the question is, what happens if I took units and I sent them off here to the hinterlands? How do I feed them? The answer is in these supply units. You've seen these before and you've seen me moving them around. I'm about to tell you what they're for. These units sort of act like a mobile depot. Like Rolla here is attracting supply from elsewhere on the map because it's a depot. These guys are sort of like a rolling depot. They attract supply. So if I want to send a stack out, which I'll be doing probably next turn, for instance, to attack Springfield, I definitely want to send some supply units along with it. So supply will be attracted from Rolla to that stack that has the supply units on them. So those troops can eat, even though they're over here somewhere. It's important to understand that supply can only get attracted so far. It can't move an infinite distance. It only goes, I don't know, 4 or 5 regions. I think it depends upon the weather and the geography. But you never want to get too far from one of your supply depots. So that's why I think I need to go over here and attack Springfield. I need to take that first before I can think about coming down and attacking Fayetteville, because I need to set up a supply line where supply can flow from depot to depot to where my troops are. The final point, I guess, is if I click on this filter here, which will change the map colors, the green areas are the areas where supply can travel through, basically because I have military control of those areas. So when I go off to attack Springfield, I'm first going to have to stop, maybe in a region like this, and take military control of it, which you just need to stop there to do. And then I can attack Springfield, and supply will be able to flow from Rolla to where my units are in Springfield. Even if I don't own Springfield yet, supply will be attracted there because I have these supply units. So that's how the supply thing works. Everything I said applies to both kinds of supply, food and ammunition, are kept track of separately by the game. And So that's why I'm waiting one more turn to attack with these guys. Even though they're all here, I'm waiting for this supply unit to meet them, so then I can head off and be assured that they'll have food to eat while they're out attacking. So I hope all that was clear. Um, well, I guess one final point is because these guys act like rolling depots, they also can carry supply with them. So I can go off out into here even though I'm way far away from my supply lines because these guys are going to carry some supply. So I'll be able to survive a little while longer before having to pull back to where my depots are as my troops eat supplies out of the wagons. But the best thing to do is to stay within the flow of supply, so you don't need to rely on eating up the stocks out of the wagons, and you can rely on supplies. You can rely on supplies that are flooding in from my network. So that's what's going on there. I'm just waiting, and that's how supplies work. Here in the east, you remember last turn I raised a whole bunch of units in Boston? There they all are, and I got to sit a couple turns and wait for them to get trained up. And I guess the final thing to look at here is here in Manassas. Uh, it looks like I managed to make a breach, excuse me, in their defenses. So I can now go ahead and try to take this city. In order to do that, I need to put these stacks, or as many of them as are active, onto assault mode. Assault mode is this red button, and it's sort of just like attack mode, offense mode, except when you hit the orange button, it tells it to attack everything out in the field, but not attack into cities. If you hit the red button, it'll attack into cities too. So I'm putting these guys on assault mode, and hopefully in the next inner turn we'll take Manassas. And I'm going to leave everything in place sort of over here. The defenses here in Pittsburgh that I had raised earlier, they're starting to arrive. You see it got one cannon, but I'm going to wait one more turn, let some more arrive that I moved there before I started this video. Next turn, this will probably be strong enough. I may move McDowell down here to Grafton to try to make sure I have that area protected. But in the next inner turn, I may lose it. If this guy attacks Grafton, he'll probably take it because my defenses there are weak. They'll get stronger when I move him down, but I'm not doing that yet. So I think that's about it for this turn. Let me hit end turn, and hopefully we have time for the end of the video for you guys to watch the entire results of this interturn. So there's the battle. I only have about a minute left in this video, but you can see that here are all the units that I had attacking, and here's the commander who was the highest commander on our side on the spot. And they had only one small militia unit defending of 450 men, and they lost them all. I only lost 30 men in the assault, and it looks like I took some prisoners. They also had a general in charge on the spot, but he lost. So I've won, and I've taken the city of Manassas, which is pretty good progress for us. I'm going to close this and let the turn finish off, and I'll say goodbye now because I think I'm about to run out of time. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next turn.